What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Week 13 pregame show. New York Jets host the Atlanta Falcons. Kirk Cousins coming to the Meadowlands, a rainy MetLife Stadium today. Action getting started over there in just under 2 hours. I'm your host, Connor Long, soon to be joined by Matt Allure. He's running a little late today, volunteering at a local event, so he should be joining us around 11:10, 11:15ish. But nevertheless, Connor Long right here with you guys. Thank you all for joining us. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. It is completely free and it helps our channels grow a ton. Again, smash the like button, hit subscribe. Your questions, your comments, your thoughts, throw all of those in the chat. We are going to get to those. You guys can call into the show. We're going to open up the phone line shortly. So again, we appreciate you guys. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat for us to get to. We appreciate you guys, and we appreciate you supporting the show. The Jets 2-7, welcome in 2-7, 2-9, excuse me, welcome in the 4-7 Atlanta Falcons in what's going to be a really, really interesting matchup, right? Because this game has major draft implications for the Jets as the season continues to progress these next few weeks. Once we get to week 15, week 13, of course, is about to kick off the Sunday slate of games today. Once we arrive in that week 15 territory, there's going to be a lot clearer of a picture as to where the draft order really stands and where the Jets are going to sit in the draft ordering. And so much could change the final 3 weeks of the season. But as of now, week 13, it's kind of just this vague image that we can point to, and we can look at the teams that are really struggling, that are ahead of the Jets, that are just behind the Jets. Like, I don't see a world, for example, where the Titans don't land the number 1 overall pick. I think they might lose out. There is a world where they lose out this season and they're, what do they finish, 1-16? I was seeing headlines the other day about the Titans potentially firing their interim head coach. Yes, that's never been done in NFL history. So if you look at the top teams picking in the order, I think the Titans are a lock for number 1. However, the Jets still have a chance to earn that number 1 overall pick, and today's going to play a huge role in where their odds stand at landing that pick, of course. After today's game, right now, according to ESPN Analytics, the Jets have a 15% chance of landing that pick. If they lose, it jumps up to 22%. And if they win, it drops all the way down to 5%, effectively wiping out their chances of landing that top selection. So today is going to be an interesting game for multiple reasons. You look at the draft side of things, the implications there, but also on the other side, Tyrod Taylor, I thought, had a very good first half against Baltimore last week. How was he able to come out against the Falcons? And look, this is a game where the Jets could try to build some momentum. I know a lot of fans are in the boat of, hey, let's lose now so we can pick high. We can get our quarterback. We can get whatever position that you guys want with that top selection and not have to worry about another team swiping up the Jets guy. However, Aaron Glenn has made it clear that he is not going to tank. He's going to try to win every single time the Jets step out on the football field. And now today, the Jets facing off against Kirk Cousins. It's going to be a really interesting matchup today for the Jets. The Falcons are going to be without Drake London. So that's a big advantage for the Jets, especially because they do have a rather significant injury in the secondary. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. he's doubtful to play today thanks to a hip injury. So he will most likely not suit up for the Jets today. And that's a significant loss because the Jets don't have many proven pieces in the secondary, especially after dealing away Sauce Gardner at the league's trade deadline. They really don't. And Brownlee is kind of that Swiss Army knife who could play boundary for you, who can be like, somewhat of a heavy hitting rover at times, while also playing a primary role at nickel cornerback, which is huge ever since the Jets traded away Michael Carter II, of course. So it's a significant loss for the Jets today. So being without Brownlee, it does take a little weight off the Jets' shoulders, given the fact that Drake London, the Falcons' leading pass catcher, will not be suiting up for Atlanta today. And as it pertains to a potential Jarvis Brownlee replacement, Isaiah Oliver is expected to see a lot of roles at the nickel corner position. Also, Jordan Clark, baby, a product of Notre Dame, the son of Ryan Clark. You all know from ESPN, and of course, his playing days in the league. So we'll see some Jordan Clark action. We're going to see a lot of Isaiah Oliver in the slot today. It's going to be interesting to see how the Jets really manage their defensive personnel. Again, with a Swiss Army knife like Brownlee out. So that's certainly a situation to monitor today. The only two other players with injury designations for the Jets are Alan Lazard, who is dealing with a neck injury. He was kind of a later addition to the injury report. He is questionable to play today. We will see that in about 40 or so minutes when the inactive list ultimately comes out for the Jets. So Alan Lazard questionable with a neck. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. doubtful with a hip. Joe Tippmann missed practice on Monday due to a non-injury personal reason, so he will suit up today. And Harrison Phillips, the only other player on that report who's been on there for now multiple weeks with a foot injury, didn't practice Wednesday, limited Thursday, a full go Friday. I'm assuming he'll play today. He's had this lingering foot injury for, I think, 3 or 4 weeks now. He's just an Iron Man, though. He will play through any and every injury that he possibly can. So expect to see Phillips out there. If I had to make a prediction, I don't think Lazard suits up today. This was something that kind of flared up at the end of the week. So a more recent injury, I don't think he plays. So I think Brownlee obviously won't suit up. I don't think Lazard will. Other than that, the Jets are fully healthy across the board, which is always a great thing to see. Earlier this week, Aaron Glenn pretty much ruled Braylon Allen out for the remainder of the season. Allen, of course, suffered an MCL injury in week 4 on Monday Night Football against the Miami Dolphins. Clear timeline later that week showed that he would be out 8 to 12 weeks. And look, at this point, the Jets are eliminated from everything effectively. There's no point in rushing Braylon Allen back on the field. Let him get healthy, let him recover, and then you have him ready for OTAs. So that's the thought process there. I think a smart move by the Jets. And look, the Jets could be in a worse situation if you really think about it. The Jets could be the Titans. The Jets could be the New Orleans Saints. Look, if you look at it from a glass half full approach, the Jets do have some young pieces who could potentially be here over the next few years who, look, fans want to continue to watch. Jawan Briggs, a name that comes to mind immediately. Adonai Mitchell, John Mechie III, the two young receivers who were acquired at the deadline who continue to play well and continue to show upside. Again, not as wide receiver twos, not as guys who are going to be the complement to Garrett Wilson next season, but solid wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 options, just great value gets out on the market. So look, there are going to be players to watch today and for the rest of the season, whether you're rooting for the tank, whether you are not. And he's here, baby. Matt O'Leary joining us here on the show. Matt, you're back. How you doing?
Absolutely. Thanks for holding it down. I was listening
course.
to your intro and monologue on the drive home.
Thank
So
you.
ready to join you and talk some 2-9 versus 4-7 football. Does it get any better, Connor?
I mean, it really can. Matt, I haven't spoken to you since the wedding. How was it, man?
Yeah, thank you so much. It was we had the best time. It was really so much
Awesome.
fun. I can't believe it's already been over a week. It's absolutely flown by. It's been hard to kind of readjust to normal life this past week, and especially, you know, after Thanksgiving and the holidays, going back into the regular routine tomorrow is going to be tough. But it was an absolute blast. It was so awesome to see everyone, and all the messages are, you know, truly really appreciated. So yeah, man, it was awesome.
Awesome. Love to hear. And then you came back on Sunday. You saw the Jets get a lead entering halftime, and it went away in the second half. What else is new?
Yeah, you know what? I will say I was kind of surprised how well they hung around for most of that game. I know they ended up losing by double digits, but I think we both were on the same page. I know we didn't do the show last week, but I don't think either of us really expected the Jets to win that game. So going into the lead with halftime, look, man, like I know it's no moral victories and all that, but in a year where you're looking for evaluation, I was pretty satisfied with the effort that they gave.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, my biggest takeaway is they left too many opportunities on the table and they made too many mistakes to win that game. In the first half, like if you really think about it, Matt, the defense bailed the offense out on so many occasions. The defense set the offense up with prime field position, and the offense just couldn't capitalize. I think the biggest, the most notable one, of course, was right before halftime when the Jets could have had a field goal and extended that lead entering the break. And Tyrod Taylor takes a killer sack. They're out of field goal range. They have to, pass up on points. And then, of course, Baltimore gets the ball to start the second half. And the Brees Hall fumble was the big turning point. There are people who are, just hammering Brees everywhere. Look, I'm not going to kill him too much because Tanner Engstrand said, I think on Friday, it was exactly what I was thinking. If it wasn't for Brees, the Jets wouldn't even have been in that position anyways. Like, he has been so valuable to this team in that game, particularly. So, look, I'm not going to kill Brees, but that was certainly a killer.
Yeah, I mean, it was very reminiscent of the Braylon Allen fumble
Yeah.
against the Dolphins, right? Both just trying to
Mhm.
fight and get in the end zone. And, if they scored, it would have made it a 20-17 game. It would have
Mhm.
been a 3-point game. And, obviously big momentum changer. But I'm with you. Obviously, you don't want to see fumbles. It's going to happen. But to kill Brees after that, with, like you said, they aren't in that game without Brees Hall. Major factor in both the rushing and receiving game
Yep.
of that game. And I don't know about you, but going into this one, I really hope that they continue to feed Brees Hall in the passing game because he is so valuable with the ball in his hands.
Definitely. And look, like I mentioned right before you hopped on, Matt, like there are still players for this fan base to watch, and there are still players on this team for this fan base to get excited about. A player like Brees Hall, who I think has, compiled a compelling enough case to secure the fact that he will be brought back next season, whether that's a multi-year deal, whether that's the franchise tag or the transition tag. I think he will be back on this team next season. But a player like Jawan Briggs, for example, who when the Jets traded for him, I was a fan of the trade. They got great value with someone who I viewed as an effective run stuffer with upside. Aaron Glenn pointed out on Thursday, he's been dominant as a pass rusher. He's
Yeah.
second on the team in pressures. He's second in sacks. So, watching a player like him, watching a player like Harrison Phillips, not only his impact on the field, but a leader as well. I found the quote super, super interesting about, him saying this rebuild isn't as far away as fans are saying. And look, I happen to agree with him. But the biggest thing is that I noted in my article when I wrote it up is it all comes down to the quarterback. The Jets can have all the pieces in the world. If they don't hit on the quarterback, the rebuild's back to square one. And that just seems to be the never-ending cycle that the Jets are in, Matt.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And that was my exact thought. And I did a video on it essentially saying the same thing. Like, I don't necessarily disagree with him. And I think from the players and the organization standpoint, like that is the right mindset to hear. As a fan, with them clinching their 10th straight losing season and missing the playoffs for 15 years in a row, like it's very hard to hear that. And then on top of it, like you said too, none of it really matters until you land the quarterback. That's obviously most important. But look, there's still 6 games left of this year. Let's see how they look over the final 6. I know when I was listening on my way home, you were kind of getting into the tank versus win debate. And I mean, you said it, they're going to play hard for Aaron Glenn. I think they've played better football over the last 4 games. They're 2-2 over that stretch. So I get it. If you're on the side that's rooting for losses for the better draft pick, I understand that perspective. I'm not going into the final 6 games with that because I just don't think they're going to lose out. I think they win a couple more games. So I'm kind of setting myself up for the expectation of them picking 6th. And if they do end up losing out or don't win as many games and they do end up with like a top 3 pick, that's kind of just the bonus, not really my expectation.
Yeah, and I mean, the hierarchy of who to take switches every single week. Like, it's just a new prospect every single week. And I think if he comes out, Dante Moore is my QB1 in this
Okay.
year's class. And his situation kind of reminds me of Drew Aller's last year, right? Drew Aller, his stock was so high entering and in the college football playoffs, frankly, and then he just didn't come out. I think there's a case where that could happen with Dante Moore as well. And as each day goes by, I've become, more intrigued with the possibility of waiting until 2027 to take a quarterback. And, maybe taking a quarterback this year, but not using your number one selection on it. A guy like Jaden Mayava is someone I like in the second or third round you could potentially experiment with. I think there's a real possibility where, depending on where they finish in the draft order, they can wait until next year to commit to that long-term quarterback.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And my answer to that was it's going to depend on where
Yeah.
they end up finishing. If they finish, like I was saying before, with like the sixth pick, then I feel like it's more likely that they wait. However,
Yeah.
if they're picking in the top three, I personally just find it hard that they would pass up on a Mendoza or Simpson, or even more if he comes out or not. I like, I like the top three quarterbacks. I know
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily who we were expecting. I have Mendoza as one and slightly above Ty Simpson, but if Dante Moore answers that, or enters the conversation and comes out, I think that just makes life easier for the Jets and more likely that they could land a quarterback if they're not picking in the top two. So we'll see. And I think the college football playoff is going to be a really big indicator of where these guys are going to end up going.
Well said there, absolutely. And look, I'm a little higher on Simpson than Mendoza, just
Okay.
because I really like his ability to process the field, the pocket awareness, and they're very similar when you talk about the prototype and their build and their style of play. Like, for example, they're both traditional pocket passers who are known for their accuracy. On the other hand, Dante Moore is kind of that run and gun, wear and tear type guy who you use on read options, who has the speed to beat you on the outside, and also has a very strong arm. They're very, very, very different. I mean, if they take Ty Simpson or Fernando Mendoza, I'm not going to be disappointed. Someone I would be very disappointed with, and the Athletic, Nick Baumgartner of the Athletic in particular, had the Jets taking Caleb Downs in his latest mock draft. And look, it's nothing against Downs, but taking a safety is like taking an offensive tackle this year, Matt. It doesn't make sense.
I think Caleb Downs, it's very similar to the Kyle Hamilton conversation from a few years ago. Like, I think he is an awesome.
Well, the Ravens had a franchise quarterback. Don't mean to cut you off, but the Ravens did have a quarterback in that situation as well. And in this idea floated out by Baumgartner, he had the Jets passing on both Simpson and Mendoza.
Okay, yeah. See, that's even more interesting with the added context of that.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, in general, when there were Jet fans who wanted Kyle Hamilton in 2022, like, understandable. I thought he was a good prospect. He's turned into a very good NFL player. I would have a really hard time passing up on, if an edge rusher is there, if they're not going quarterback, like passing on an edge or a wide receiver to go safety in that spot. I loved Tyson out of Arizona State. I think that he would be a really intriguing swing for this team if they're not going quarterback. And Arbel Reese has been a popular one amongst fans. That's a Caleb Downs' teammate who's playing out of his mind as well. So there's a lot of options, even if the Jets decide themselves, or if they're just picking out of the range for a quarterback, where you can still land a very good player.
I really like Ruben Bain out of Miami. I know the sack total has gone down so much. It's just because he's getting double teamed every play. I think he has like 56 pressures or something crazy like that on the season. I really want them to go offense though. And look, this isn't the make or break pick. It isn't like the Jets have, God bless you, Matt. It isn't like the Jets have, 3 picks this entire draft. They have 4 picks in the top 45. So you could take someone with that most likely top 10 selection, and then also double up wherever the Colts finish, and then make your 2 picks in the second round as well. You have so many avenues to go down, and now with the injury to Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones, excuse me, Matt, like, this is really intriguing for the Jets. I know he's supposed to play today, but the effects in recent weeks are evident. He looks so much slower. I think he's fumbled the ball 6 times over the past 3 weeks. He's thrown 4 interceptions over the past 3 games, 1-2 record over that span. He is limping on the practice field. Like, there's a world where the Jets could have 2 picks in the top 15, and that really excites me.
Yeah, I was going to say, and you just said it right at the end there. Did you see the video of him at practice?
Yes.
He looked he was moving around very gingerly. And look, I don't want to, like, we're not saying that we're rooting for injuries or anything like that. Like, I just want to make that abundantly clear, because you know how the comments get sometimes. But
yes,
with that being said, as Jet fans who have the first round pick of the Indianapolis Colts, it is in the Jets' best interest if they lose games. Number one, they have a tough schedule down the stretch. And then number two, if their quarterback is banged up and not going to play the way that he did earlier in the year, that's really big. That's huge for this team. So absolutely, we're going to be scoreboard watching the rest of the way, and definitely keep an eye on the quarterback situation out in Indy.
Yeah, I wrote it up yesterday, and it's like it's not likely, but they could lose out. Like saying, looking at their schedule and the way Jones has been playing, and saying they're going to lose out isn't the craziest thing I've heard. So they face the Texans today, who just knocked off the Bills in prime time, and then they have two matchups against the 7-4 Jaguars. They play the 8-3 Seahawks and are home against the 8-4 49ers. So that's like a really, really, really difficult stretch to close out the season. We're gonna have to monitor that because the pick right now, they're 8-3, so it sits at number 28 overall. Still valuable, but nowhere near the where it could be in the teens. So that's going to be an interesting situation to watch. And kind of transitioning into today's game, Matt, the Falcons are going to be without Drake London, which I think helps the Jets secondary. Also, given the fact that Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is doubtful with a hip injury and the Jets secondary is very thin, we're going to see probably Jordan Clark, who, no disrespect to Jordan Clark, he's a great player at Notre Dame. I reported them signing with the practice squad earlier in the summer. But look, you don't want Jordan Clark, playing 50% of your reps at nickel corner. That is just a preparing to fail. And same goes for putting Isaiah Oliver in that spot, which, by the way, Isaiah Oliver was great last year. I was like, fan and analyst number one clamoring to bring him back, and he's been terrible this year. Like, he just fell off a cliff, and I thought he would be even better too, because he was playing under Steve Wilkes, his former coordinator and play caller in San Francisco. So how do you think the Jets kind of distribute the reps in nickel corner today?
That's a great question. I think Isaiah Oliver is going to get the first crack at it. It just feels like he's played a lot of reps there already, but you bring up a good point. He's really struggled, which is why I think they elevated Clark. Maybe they give him a look at some point, right? I have very tempered expectations because this is, as you mentioned, a UDFA getting his first NFL action. So I'm excited for him. It's a huge opportunity for him. But I think they're going to default to the veteran, even with his struggles this year.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm trying to find it on PFF. I think Malachi Moore might have taken a few snaps at nickel corner. I'm trying to find that out. Now, he's taken 2 snaps at nickel corner this season. So he could be a potential guy to rotate in there, because NFL teams do like to have, kind of 3 guys who are able to play that position. So he's someone who we can see get some reps. And if you look at the depth chart, though, like, it doesn't make sense why they didn't use their third practice squad elevation number 1, and they used it on a pass rusher when the defensive line is fully intact. I think they could have used some help in the secondary. I think we could see Dean Clark take some starting safety reps today. That'll be interesting to watch. Again, another guy, a UDFA who stood out during the preseason, signed to the active roster after spending the first few weeks on the practice squad. I think this offseason, though, you're looking at a really interesting change on the defensive side of things. I did my first mock off season, and the big fish I had the Jets landing was Alex Anzalone in free agency. That was the guy I had the Jets bring in, with Quincy Williams expected to move on this offseason, rocking the Quincy jersey right now. I think you could pay Anzalone, a similar price to Quincy, especially Sherwood, especially given all the cap space they have. So I think I put it in as like a 3-year, $43 million or something like that, like eerily similar to, this one, it was 2 years, I think the 20, something, I'm going to try to pull it up, or in that range. And look, you could bring him in. He can replace Quincy. He has familiarity in this system. He's a sideline to sideline guy. 2 years, $14 million, so a little lower given his age of I think he's 33 or something like that. So look, I think you need a strong linebacker next to Sherwood. Anzalone gives you that. You can afford him. I think it's the right move.
Yeah, no, that is definitely someone that I think is going to be very high on the priority list. It's a position of need, number 1, because my expectation, like yours, is that Quincy Williams will not be back. And let's be honest, Jamie Sherwood's been very underwhelming in his first year with the new contract. So I think it's important for Glenn to start bringing in his guys to help, turn this roster over. And I know a little bit before your time, but Rex Ryan brought in Bart Scott, who is a veteran linebacker, to pair with David Harris, and that duo was great. for a few years. And it's I don't really care that he's an older player, right? Like not everyone on your roster has to be 24 years old. And I think you need a mix of both veteran and young talent. And let's be honest, they have plenty of young talent and draft picks on this roster to continue to add a young talent. I know we haven't really mentioned this yet. And just on the conversations of adding veterans to this roster, with all the 6th and 7th round picks they have, I would be very open to moving some of those picks for already established NFL players that are, either like some teams in a bad cap situation and wants to move on, or just someone randomly becomes available. It happens every year, right around draft time. So that would be my plan for day 3, because I just don't see a reason to load up and take like 6 guys in the 6th round. I don't know.
That's a great point. I entirely agree. The Jets have 11 draft picks this year, Matt. And with all the cap space they have, they're going to re-sign a ton of guys. They're going to spend a lot of money in free agency. You don't need to make all 11 picks. That would just be a waste of space. And if you do that, probably all 3 of your 7th rounders and at least 1 of your 6th rounders are probably getting cut over the summer. That's the harsh reality of it. I mean, we saw it a few years ago. Jalen Key, who the Jets took in the 7th round, Mr. Irrelevant, ultimately got cut before the season even started. So when you have that, that many picks, I think it makes sense, like you mentioned, to trade some of those, similar to what they did with Juwan Briggs and Harrison Phillips. And look, those guys have been game changers for the Jets, frankly, up front and making a big difference. I was talking about it the other week. It's crazy how the beginning of the year, our biggest concern was, how are the Jets going to stop the run? How are the Jets going to stop the run? How are they going to stop the run? They've done a great job of that. They can't stop the pass. They can't stop anything through the air. That's the biggest issue now. So what was their weakness to open the season has frankly been their strength. And what we thought was going to be their strength has been their Achilles heel, Matt.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the NFL and football is a weird game. Sometimes you look at a roster on paper and you think they're going to be better or worse than what they actually are. And that's why the games aren't played on paper, right? You got to see how it actually plays out, in person. And I know we haven't spent a ton of time on the game, and it's understandable with a 4-7 team going up against a 2-9 team. But in this game for the Jets defense, no Drake London, which you mentioned earlier. Kirk Cousins playing outside, no dome, right, for the veteran quarterback. And I know he put up some nice numbers against the Saints, but out in the elements in the rain, I know like Bijan's a scary player. He's one of the best dual threat running backs in the NFL. But I actually think this sets up for the Jets to have an okay game defensively. I expect them to be in this one.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. You just have to get pressure on Kirk Cousins. That's all you need to do. I think fans who say they want this team to sign Kirk Cousins in the offseason, it's just laughable. Like there was absolutely no point in doing that. I saw a list that someone like tagged me on Twitter, and it was like Tyson Bagent, Kirk Cousins, Malik Willis, and I'm like, shoot me, absolutely not.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins isn't the same guy. Like I get it if this was a couple of years ago. Not the same guy off the injury. He's old, and plus, like he's burned the Jets how many times in his career?
Exactly.
Leverage in 2018. Like I'm really all good with handing out another contract to that guy. Let him retire. If they need a stopgap option. I think you could find someone at least comparable to this version of Kirk Cousins at a much cheaper price.
Yeah, I liked Marcus Mariota. I was like, I'm fine with Mariota. I know Green Bean hates Marcus Mariota. Green Bean cannot stand Marcus Mariota. But yeah, I mean, I would be okay. The options just aren't great. I think that's the harsh reality. And as it pertains to the Jets shutting Kirk Cousins down today, again, just pressure him. I don't think he's a guy who's going to throw a ton of interceptions or, put the Jets in position to potentially haul in an interception, because Jets haven't had one in 11 games to start the season. But at the end of the day, you just got to get pressure on him. He's someone in the rainy conditions as well. The ball's going to be slippery. He'll cough, a snap up or two, and the Jets just have to be in position to fall on it. So if I had to make a prediction, I think the Jets do get a turnover today. I think this is a game where the Jets, pick up a fumble, generate a fumble, and potentially get a short field. Do they score on that possession? That was another question, because the offense, for some reason, can't score on short fields, Matt.
No, they absolutely can't. Although, two things. One, it just reminded me, because I know it's earlier than we usually do it, but can we do the bold takes? Because my bold take was the Jets are going to get their first interception of the season today.
Bingo. Let's do it.
Okay, so I said that in my preview video earlier. I think they intercept Kirk Cousins. So that's going to be my bold take for today, which is crazy that like an interception's a bold take. But when you have 0 through 11 games, I think it's going to have to be considered a bold take. Do you have one for this game?
Yeah, I'll let's see. I'll give me a second here. I mean, last week I got the 2 weeks ago, should I say? I think it was my first one. There's something my Thursday night predictions typically always hit. I'd be 2 for 2 on Thursday Night Football if Malachi Corley just held on to the football for an inch and a half longer. So I got the Mechie touchdown prediction right last week. This is interesting. I will say this is rough. I'll go on the offensive side of the ball since you chose defense, and I'll say that Arian Smith has a touchdown today. That's my
what? Well, you know what I was gonna say. Is he gonna catch the ball? Not that like a drop, but just saying they haven't really thrown him the ball since really the Tampa Bay game. But Tyrod started that game too, so maybe with Tyrod at quarterback, offense plays out a little differently. You were talking earlier. Likely no Alan Lazard today. Still waiting on the inactives list, but this could be a situation where Arian Smith gets some reps. So I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Arian Smith on the jet sweep, one of the first plays of the game, and he just disappeared. I just disappeared. That's exactly like what happened. He had that great play on the jet sweep, and then you look up and he disappeared. And I'm getting word that Arian Smith is inactive today. So we're gonna have to change that.
Okay, wait, hold on. We'll change that.
Saying it in the chat. I see it now. Arian Smith.
Okay. All right, we'll change it. Thank you. That was just tweeted out 10 seconds ago. So Jarvis, here, I can pull it up. Why don't I just do this? I'm talking. I can just pull it up.
Absolutely. Oh my god.
You can't make it up.
I bought an Arian Smith rivalry jersey, actually, Matt, off parts unknown. It's supposed to come the day of that game. Hopefully he's not inactive then.
Incredible. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., Arian Smith, Khalil Herbert, Jelani Woods, Brady McGregor, Tyler Barron, Mozzie Smith. Connor, not Arian Smith related. I'll let you think on who you want to change that to. Tyler Barron being pretty much a healthy scratch every week is honestly not a great sign.
And the Jets traded up for him too. They traded up to get Tyler Barron. They gave up assets to land a guy who can't find the field. It's crazy. If you think about it though, he's the only draft pick who hasn't been, playable, which is still unfortunate, but 5th round, even if you trade up for a guy, you're still kind of looking at a dart throw situation. At the end of the day, Francisco Mauigoa, Kiko Mauigoa has been able to start. Malachi Moore has been able to step into a starting role. Mason Taylor has been great in select opportunities. And then, of course, Armand Membu on the right side of the line. So, look, Barron certainly hasn't been great, but 5th round dart throw, that's the way I view it. You want to see him pan out, but at the end of the day, the odds are stacked against him right off the jump. But I definitely understand where you're coming from.
No, without a doubt. So, wide receivers that are active today: Mechie, Mitchell, Williams, Lazard, and Tyler Johnson.
Wow. If you told me that was the Jets receiver depth chart in week 1, it wouldn't even have made sense because AD Mitchell and John Mechie weren't even on the team. So that is crazy to think. It's just like Arian Smith is more frustrated to me than Tyler Barron because the Jets passed on receivers who had themselves established and a clear blueprint for their draft position made already. And the fact that he's inactive in week 13 when the preseason is not the preseason. The season's pretty much effectively over at this point when you talk about competing for a winning season, when you talk about playoff odds or anything like that. So these are the games where you want to see your young core and your young pieces get reps and play. Frankly, I'm not blaming this on Arian Smith. I'm blaming it on the fact that the Jets haven't given him an opportunity. The Jets haven't given him any opportunity to succeed or put his skill set on full display. So definitely an odd situation there because it was a clear reach and the Jets tried to say that they had a plan for him. Okay, why isn't he playing in week 13 when your team is 2-9?
Yeah, not great. Obviously, not ideal. So, all right, have you given it some thought? Do you want to go a different?
Yeah, I'll stick on offense, and I will say Tyler Johnson over 55 receiving yards.
Okay, over 55 receiving yards. I have it marked down right here now.
Because, he's someone who especially if the game gets out of control in garbage time, like he'll just sometimes be open downfield and Tyrod will just chuck it up to him. And he's kind of like a garbage time stat collector. He's a guy who it's interesting. Whenever he gets the ball, he's just wide open. Like whenever I see him on the screen, no one is in the vicinity of him. So I'll say Tyler Johnson over 55 receiving yards. That'll be my bold prediction of the day. Hopefully it's not as bad as I think my worst one, I chose I think Avery Williams was his name. He was on the team for like a week. I said he was going to have a punt return touchdown, and obviously that didn't happen.
They were called bold predictions for a reason, Connor.
There we go. Okay. All right. Perfect.
You wanna open up the phone lines?
Let's go with
our guy? None other than
our opener.
The opener, the beast. There he is.
All right, which guys are out? I know Lazard was out. I'm like, he's nothing but injury prone. But next year I've already did my study on research. We're looking at a $3.2 billion deficit of spending because next year, 8 players that we have to release. I'm sorry to say this, but Tony M's, Clemens, Cisco, gone. Braylon Allen, gone.
Braylon Allen.
Whoa.
Gotta go. We need fresh talent. We need heavy caliber. We need a new quarterback. We need we need extra heavy guns in the offense department. The defense department needs a little bit of bomb power because we don't have the right resources as we speak, as of right now. Also, we need to start looking at other options. Start going out into that free agent market because starting next year, the free agent market is going to be wide open. So 3.2, time to start saying, shut up, spend the money wisely. It's no more of the playing flipper games. We're going to start playing like Jaws and start eating these teams up. Because right now, as it speaks, how about we start bringing up, where's Pritchett? Where's he been?
I forgot about him.
I forgot Jamal Pritchett.
Hey, Mr. Glenn, you better bring him up, yo. Hey, where's he been? Preseason, he looked great. Bring him up. Time for the kids to step their game up to the plate. And today, since we're playing the Falcons in rainy conditions, I'm going to say this once. Hold the ball tight as much as you can instead of Butterfingers. Because
no fumbles.
No fumbles.
Hold the ball like this as tight as you can and just don't let it slip.
Don't
stay on your 2 feet and run. And for Tyrod, do what you need to do. Don't be stupid and stand there like, oh, just come out and hit me. Boing. Like you could pit the word hit me right here in the center and then picture him as the tackling dummy and go, wham! Not gonna play that today.
No, Beast, I have a question for you. Does that $3.2 billion budget, does that include the $2 billion hot tubs, or is that an addition?
We're going to add we're getting ice baths for a reason.
Ice baths.
The boys have to learn that pain comes a price. What we have to do is the boys need to learn that pain comes a price, but we have to keep our players healthy, and we got to keep them very 100% lean and mean and hungry. That's why, and also the $25 billion we could also use is we could also help out our communities. We could also help out many other people too. Like for example, I want to see where we go next year. And next year, 8 new players, 2 new ice baths, no more fooling around. Get Mendoza. Stick to getting Mendoza and bring up Pritchett and also get some new cannons. We need big boys. I'm talking 300 to 315. The guys have to have meat on their arms. Like, I'll give you an example.
Yeah, let's see it.
See that right there? Oh. That's meat.
Tackle?
That's meat right there. That's hungry for survival. You don't want no wishy-washy.
Beast, you can replace Clemens out there. You'd provide a higher motor on the outside of the line.
He don't have it. See, Clemens don't have it. I've watched his work. He's he ain't there.
Not
there. He ain't there. He's penalty prone. He's too lazy. And did you watch when I watched that Tampa game? He was like,
I'm surprised Derrick Henry didn't kill him last week.
What am I watching? Connect 4? Guess who? What is this guy doing? Is he playing checkers ass backwards? Dude, where's your freaking brain? And that's why today, when we play these Falcons, stay smart. Don't drop the ball. Just hold on to the ball tight. That's all I ask. And for the kickers, you're going to need to tighten your shoes up a little harder because that ball is going to be very wet and ugly. So if I were you, tighten them up very nice. And for the Falcons, you know what we're going to do? We're going to baptize those Falcons today. We're going to baptize them. And you know how we're going to baptize them? We're going to do it just like chicken. We're going to deep fry them nice and easy. Let's see. Lemon pepper, garlic and herb, and Raging Cajun. Oh, and Matt O'Leary, congratulations. Congratulations to you getting married.
Thank you,
I
sir.
want to say big congratulations to you. Oh, and how was that mashed potato bar?
We did some damage on the mashed potato bar, let me tell you.
I can tell you did some permanent damage. Wow. But enough about that. We're going to stick to our guns and stay on task. That means first half, 30 minutes. Jump them right away. Knock them on their ass. Punch them in the gut a few times and get them on their ass. Knock them down a couple of but not too hard. Second round, when the second half starts, start beating their asses up uglier. And I'm talking 10 times uglier. And you know what I mean by uglier. Now, Connor, let me ask you, have you ever watched Rocky 2 or 3?
No, I have not. I'm not a big
you
movie
want to
fan.
see how ugly the fights were between Apollo Creed and Rocky? I'm talking these kind of fights. They're going to get ugly, and I want to see our boys hit ugly. And I'm talking.
Oh.
I mean, full speed ahead. Don't take your foot off the gas. Keep your foot on the gas and just break these bastards in half. I'm talking.
What a way to end it. I think that's the perfect place to cut it. In half.
It's like a wrestling promo every single
time. I love it. Gets us hyped, right? We gotta
start with him.
We do. Every week he's always the first one on the line. So we gotta go out to Beast. To Beast. We let him go. He's an animal. That's what he is.
Absolutely. I'm going to try to, before we move over to the next call, and again, you guys call into the show with the pin comment at the top of both of our YouTube chats. Look at this Arian Smith graphic, Matt, that I just happened to stumble upon. And now he's inactive in a Week 13 game when the Jets are 2-9. Overall rank on the mock draft database consensus big board, 274th overall. He was projected to be an undrafted free agent, and I think the banner might be covering it, but it says the Jets took him in the 4th round, 110th overall. It's just, you can't make it up.
No, you can't. It's unfortunate is what it is, because they took him. They clearly liked him for a reason. I'm not saying you completely give up on him and say that it's over, but I don't know why Alan Lazard is out there over Arian Smith, even with the flaws that Smith may have at this point in his young career.
Test it out. Develop. Like you can't develop without getting in-game reps. You can't. That's not how the league works. And I've been meaning to mention this over the past few minutes here. Did you see Rich Cimini's report? I know you were out all morning about Justin Fields.
I did.
I mean,
so essentially, in case anyone missed it, he was saying that the Jets were considering using like a wildcat package with him. And he was, what was the word that he used?
Mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings. Thank you. There you go.
Yes.
Mixed feelings on being a part of that, which I don't know. That just, it bothers me, right?
It reminds me of the end of Zach. That's what
a little bit, right?
Just how he doesn't want to play. Like at this point, make Brady Cook quarterback too. Why is Justin Fields your quarterback too? And this is surprising. Like, Aaron Glenn has some weird kind of affection for this guy, because if this was any other player, they would have been benched weeks ago. It doesn't make sense. You can't say you're a hard-nosed football coach who praises accountability and then keep this guy at number 2 on your depth chart after he's refusing to play a role that, frankly, could impact the team. The Steelers tried that with him. When you have a mobile QB, that could work. But, refusing to play, that's nonsense. Why is he your quarterback, too?
If this continues, right, if this was maybe the first time the story went public, it would not shock me if there's some sort of change next week. I think if Glenn is serious about the culture change and holding guys accountable, then I think I would not shock me if next week there's some sort of change.
Yeah.
He did mention too, sorry to jump you, but he did mention they had a plan for Brady Cook. So it would not surprise me.
Yeah. It's really, really intriguing position. I was in the boat where I'm surprised his agent, Justin Fields' agent, David, I don't know how to say his last name, Muglio, something like that. It starts with them. He represents so many major quarterbacks in the league. And I'm not surprised that he didn't try to, get involved on a trade that, maybe it was like the Jets send him in a 6th round pick to even Baltimore was a team at the time. Yeah, for a 7th rounder. I think Fields will be in the NFL next year. I think the people who say Fields won't be in the league next year, I think that's crazy, but definitely not a starter. Who's looking at Justin Fields this year and saying, we want him to be our starting quarterback? I view him as, someone who could go to a team like the Ravens, go to a team like the Commanders, back up a Lamar Jackson, back up a Jaden Daniels type guy. So I think that's what his future in the league holds. It's unfortunate. I was rooting for the guy.
Sure.
He's all the talent in the world. There's no denying that. But I always say, I said at the beginning of the year, this was his last opportunity to be a starter. You're in year 5. You have to show some sort of consistency. Ultimately, he didn't do that, and he's not going to be a starting quarterback next season, Matt.
No, I think that ship has sailed, but we can keep it rolling here. Let's go out to our guy Wyatt. Wyatt, loving the jacket, my man. That looks.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're muted, Wyatt. Oh,
all right.
device. Yeah.
We'll get Wyatt to pop.
I think he's back. I think we see him now. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. The jacket was. I'm not big on jerseys. I don't like the way they fit, and it's cold in Wyoming, so I got a Letterman jacket.
It looks beautiful. I love
it.
There
we go.
It's got the 1969 because that's when we won the championship. If we ever win again, when I'm 95, I'll add another patch.
Yeah, you're gonna have to add another patch. That's right.
Right.
There we go.
Or this year when we win out and somehow magically make the playoffs.
It'd be a hell of a run.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm pretty excited about what Aaron Glenn's doing. I know a lot of people are pretty down, but I like how he's handled the team, and I really do think we're slowly getting better. I mean, you cut a guy like Quinnen, you cut a guy like Sauce, and then your defense improves. That shows good coaching, in my opinion. And he's really aggressive, which I appreciate. I think the Jets need that, even if it caused us to lose some games. We're not a team that can afford to not be aggressive. We've been too bad for too long. So I'm excited for this game. I think it's a game we should win. I don't think it's a big deal if we win or lose, to be honest. I don't care about draft position. It's going to come out how it comes out. I just want to see this team improve. So
I'm with you. Like I can't get worked up about the draft position. And if they lose any of these games, if you want to, after the fact, positive spin it and go, well, I know they didn't win, but at least hey, it's going to help their draft stock. That's one thing. But with 6 games left, I just think they're probably going to win another game or two. Yeah. So I'm just mentally preparing for that right now before I get my hopes up about having a top 2 or 3 pick.
Well, and here's my thing. It's what would make you feel better? We lose out the rest of the season and we get the number 1 or number 2 pick, or if we win 4 or 5 games going out of the season, I'd be happier with 4 or 5 wins. That'd show a lot of change in this team. I really do. The Jets don't win late in the season. We just don't. We win our last 2 games and we lose everything else outside of week 5. So I would love to see some improvement, some fight from this team.
Yeah, and look, it's still unknown if Aaron Glenn is the guy or not. And you said, I think there are some things as the season's gone on. I think he has improved. The team's still playing hard for him. They've looked better over the last 4 weeks or so. But you want to know if he's your guy or not. And if they lose out and have a 2-15 season, I'm probably not feeling great about Aaron Glenn going into year 2. So I think there are positives that you can take out of this team winning a few games down the stretch.
And my next thing is this whole Kirk Cousins thing. If we trade for Kirk Cousins, or who was not the Falcons, the Cardinals, their quarterback, Kyler
Murray.
If we get Kyler Murray or Kirk Cousins, I'm going to lose my mind. I don't want either of those quarterbacks. I mean, how many times are we going to trade for failed quarterbacks? I didn't like the Justin Fields thing. I understood it. I didn't like it. I didn't even like Aaron Rodgers. I wanted the other guy that we were in on.
Derek Carr.
Yeah, I wanted Derek Carr.
Okay.
But we just, for some reason, we cannot choose just a normal quarterback who is like, hey, he's not the best, but he's not the worst. We can't just get a guy like that. We have to trade for these losers, these failures, these weird quarterbacks that nobody else wants. I'm sick of it. Like, I don't even want to draft a guy like, oh, his athletic ability and his upside are great. I don't want that. I want good processing power. I want I want him to get rid of the ball fast.
And a winner.
That's literally all I want. Yeah,
and a winner.
And that's it. These
Absolutely.
weird loser quarterbacks, and these but he has upside. I don't care. I don't want Kirk Cousins. I don't want Kyler Murray. In fact, I want Kyler Murray on the Dolphins, and I want the Bills. That's what I want.
That would be fun.
I love it. I think that's the right attitude to have. And look, like with how they traded away, like you mentioned, they trade away Sauce and they trade away Quinnen Williams. I don't think you essentially start a rebuild and then go, you know what, we're going to actually, instead of drafting our own guy and developing year over year, we're going to trade for a veteran quarterback and try to win now. Like, I don't think you trade away those two players and then pivot into the veteran quarterback route.
You know, I'm not even sure it's a good idea to call it a rebuild. I mean, Sauce Gardner, the only reason we traded him, we weren't even shopping him, is that the Colts gave us a ridiculous deal. And I love Sauce, but Sauce doesn't get picks. And you can't be a defensive player who doesn't get picks and
misses that many tackles as well.
Right. He shut down really good receivers, but he didn't get picks. And you're not going to completely change a game as a defensive player unless you're getting turnovers.
Yeah, well, and Sauce was my favorite Jet. He was. There's no way around it. He was a great player, a true Jet on and off the field. He's very, very good. Don't get me wrong. He's a very, very, very good player. He's not 2 first-round pick good. He just isn't. And if a report came out that the Jets passed up on that deal, like let's say the day after the deadline, I would have been really disappointed. And look, my initial reaction to the deal on that day was it sucks that you lost Sauce and it came at the expense of him. But 2 first-round picks is 2 first-round picks. That's a crazy haul.
We still have a full offensive line. I think we all knew Quinnen didn't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a full rebuild, or we would have traded guys like Quincy Williams. We would have traded
Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. We would, because we didn't trade Breece Hall for a 4th, and I don't think we should have traded him for a 3rd. If it was a complete rebuild, we'd have gotten rid of him. And I think we're looking good. I think we have a solid offensive line. And people always say they don't think this is a good quarterback location. If I was a quarterback, I'd look at the Jets' offensive line, our running back room, and our receivers, and I'd say, this is where I want to be.
Yep.
And I think even Tyrod Taylor's finding success. I don't know what is wrong with Justin Fields that he couldn't succeed behind this line and with these receivers. I guess he had worse receivers, but he just didn't get rid of them.
Yeah. Also, it's relative to the other teams who are going to be picking quarterbacks and the infrastructure that the Jets have. The Saints, the Dolphins could potentially be in that conversation. Just the other teams who are going to be taking quarterbacks, they're just terrible situations. The Browns, the Raiders, who might have a new head coach already next season. Like, it's insane. So I think the Jets, I've been saying that for the past few weeks, the Jets are like an attractive quarterback destination relative to the teams picking in the top 10, most likely.
And 5 number 1 picks is not something a quarterback is going to look at and say, that's nothing. They're going to look at that and they're going to say, we're going to add even more pieces than we already have. And a lot of people want offense, and I understand the Jets always use our picks on defense, but we have too many holes in defense in my opinion, I think 3 of these number 1 picks need to go to our defense. I want a ball hawk safety more than I want anything else in the draft because we cannot get turnovers at all.
Yeah, I think a ball hawking safety would definitely be important. My only thing with that is I think they need to get a number 2 receiver in here pretty badly too. I would probably put that personally over safety, but you're right to call that one out as a need as well.
I did think that, but I think Mechie's a number 2 receiver. I really do. The way he's played these last 2 games, I think he's a number 2 receiver, and I think Mitchell's a number 3. I think we have our receiver room found out, and I think you're going to see today. I think today you're going to see Mechie succeed, and I think you guys are all going to be more comfortable with the situation.
I hope you're right, because that just makes life significantly easier. One less need for the Jets going into the offseason.
Hey, so I'm putting my actions where my words are. He's starting on my fantasy team right now, and that is 3% of all players, but I see it. Okay.
You see the vision. I love it.
I still have Chris Strevler on my fantasy roster, by the way. I took him in my last pick. I was so confident in my team in our Jets X Factor League. I took him in my last pick, and he's still on my roster. So, and I'm 8-3 or whatever, I think, in that league. So, yeah, Chris Strevler's on my fantasy team. That's the only Jet I have right now.
All right, Jets. Well, it's always fun to talk to my New York and New Jersey family. Have a good day.
Awesome.
You too,
Thank
Wyatt.
for the
Thanks, man.
call.
Great stuff from Wyatt. Hey, I like the positivity there. We could use some positive
Yeah.
vibes in the chat here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some of the receivers that I like this year, Carnell Tate, obviously out of Ohio State. You mentioned Jordan Tyson earlier, Mekhi Lemon out
Yeah.
of USC. Denzel Boston is a sleeper who I really like out of Washington.
He's a
He is,
big,
yeah,
go up and get it.
yes,
receiver.
6'4", 209 pounds, 66.7 contested catch rate.
Yep.
Doesn't a 1.9% drop rate. Like the thing that stuck out to me most watching him, he's such a smooth mover. Like he's not like you think someone 6'4", he'd be like lanky and just a stiff in some ways. He's very, very smooth in the way he moves and contested catch threat. I also like the guy at Texas A&M, Casey Concepcion, I think is how you say his last name.
Okay.
Out of Texas A&M, he's one of the he's someone who's like a smaller, speedy guy, 5'11", 190 pounds. So, look, I think this draft class is very strong. I'll say that I haven't dug in nearly enough because it's only it's not even December yet, technically. And all I know is like just at first glance, there's a lot of talent in this draft.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My only thing with Mekhi Lemon, who I think is a good player, I fear with his size, he's gonna just be a slot guy at the next level.
It's fair.
And like if you have Mechie for that, I'd almost rather pair a bigger receiver. So like Tyson 6'2", Tate 6'3". You have obviously Boston is the bigger one that I think I feel like Boston's probably not in play for their first round pick, but for wherever
Definitely
the
20,
Indy pick
wherever that
is.
finish.
Yeah, if it's somewhere around the 20, that's the range I see Boston.
Yeah. Or Jacoby Lane, another guy from USC who, again, not a first rounder, but you have 4 picks in the top 45. He can go with, in that range. So again, a ton of talent this year. And look, the Jets are going to be in a really interesting position post the draft. And I don't know, they have to execute. That's all they have to do. They have to execute. And it's going to be really intriguing if they pass up on a quarterback. So I think if they pass up a quarterback this year, Matt, they're going to have to win with a rookie in 2027 if they play like crap next season. And it's kind of going to be a similar situation, except they got more time with Brian Dable and Joe Shane. Like they're going to have to win with a rookie quarterback to keep their jobs. I think that's going to hold true with Aaron Glenn and Darren Mushi because in New York, you don't have all the time in the world. 2 shitty seasons, you're on the hot seat entering year 3, and that could certainly be in play.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very valid point to bring up with the timeline of this quarterback. We do have a super chat that I want to pull up from Matthew, who says, I'm sorry I have to disagree, but we need to draft the number 2 receiver. With our picks, we can take quarterback, receiver, and then safety in that order. I do think I would prioritize quarterback and wide receiver over safety. Honestly, definitely. I might put edge rusher in before I would put safety.
Yeah, I only had them making one. I think in my mock off season, I had them signing one guy in free agency, Geno Stone, of the Bengals, a veteran guy, efficient, not a star, not a crazy good safety, but someone who's efficient, someone with veteran experience. He's not a Kyle Hamilton, but he's someone who's able to get the job done for you. Other than that, yeah, I think I might have had them drafting a safety when I was kind of just going through the simulator in one of the later rounds. Yeah, Jalen Stroman out of Notre Dame. I had them taking in the 4th round, just a dart throw there. You just need to get rid of Tony Adams. That'll solve some of your safety problems.
I can't keep doing it. I just feel like he always sticks around, man. I was surprised that he stuck after Robert Saleh left. And I thought, all right, Cisco, Malachi Moore, maybe this is finally the time where you're not going to have to see Tony Adams. And then after some injuries, here he is. He's back.
Yeah, exactly. He is just a full liability. Like you can't have him out there. And I really like Tony Adams. He was the Jets' leader in interceptions in 2023. I think 4 interceptions that year. And now the Jets have combined for 0 this season. 0. How many did they have last year? Like 3?
It wasn't a lot.
And then Brandon Eccles had 2. I know that.
Yeah.
Sauce got 1 against the Jaguars, game-sealing play. There might have been another one.
Yeah, but we're talking minuscule
Yeah.
numbers. We thought they would be improving off of what was a bad, we'll call it somewhere
Exactly.
between 3 and 5 picks last year. And then now they have 0 through their first 11. Although I'm going to go back to my bold take. I think this is the week. Bad weather, Kirk Cousins out in the element. If they can't intercept him this week, then I don't think they're getting one all year.
I think that's fair because they're not going to get a better really opportunity. Like I would say the Dolphins, but Tua doesn't throw many picks. He's kind of a short intermediate guy. Imagine that. That's never been done. Going 11 straight games to start the season with an interception hasn't been done, let alone going a whole season without an interception. That would be insane. Like they say it on the broadcast every week, and it couldn't be more right. Like sometimes, like an interception just bound to happen. Like sometimes it literally just falls into your arms. Like it happens at times. And the funniest thing relative to the Tony Adams conversation is, you remember the play? I don't think because we didn't do the show last week. The play in the Patriots game where him and Quantez Stiggers collided and it broke up the interception.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a joke. I went back and I watched it on the film. So I wanted to see what happened if there was a pass off. The biggest thing that stuck out to me first, Adam shouldn't even have been there. Stiggers.
Oh, we lost your mic. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. I don't know what happened there. But the biggest thing that stuck out to me, Matt, is after the pass came free, Tony Adams got up off the ground and started celebrating. Like, you just ran into your own guy and took away the possibility for an interception. You get up and you start celebrating. Like, the defense is a mess. In my mock offseason, I had them firing Wilkes and bringing in Jim Leonard. I don't think that happens. I would love it, though. Like, the two guys, in my opinion, who need to go are Wilkes and Charles London. London shouldn't have been brought in to begin with. Wilkes has been terrible. His schematic stubbornness has killed the team every week. Those are the two guys I think you just need to get out. And with a young quarterback coming in, the quarterback coach job is very important. Like that might just be an overlooked title on the staff when you have a veteran as your quarterback, but especially if you draft a rookie high, that person's going to play a huge role in their development. Rob Calabrese with Zach Wilson. Look at that situation. Yeah, I'm not saying Zach Wilson wasn't good because of Rob Calabrese. Like, sure.
It didn't help, though.
It did. Absolutely. It didn't help. I'm sure if he had Pete Carmichael or Joe Lombardi as his quarterback coach, would have helped them a little more. So that role plays a significant impact in the quarterback's development and how they get acclimated to the next level. I really like David Blau from the Commanders. He was on the he was on the team when Aaron Glenn was the defensive coordinator with the Lions. He's been the assistant quarterbacks coach with the Commanders, so he's overseeing the development of Jaden Daniels. Jets requested to interview him last coaching cycle. I also like that he's young too. I want someone who knows the game now. Like I think you need someone like that. He's just 30 years old. Bring him in. He was in the league 3 years ago. Charles London, meanwhile, I never liked the hire to begin with. He was a running back who made, his name off of being a running backs coach. And he was with the Falcons. Desmond Ridder was terrible. I think, did he spend 1 year with Matt Ryan?
Yes, I believe he did spend 1 year with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, like okay, he went to Seattle. Like, okay, again, how much did he impact Geno, 37 whatever year old Geno Smith, having a bounce back year and somewhat resurrecting his career there? And then he went to the Titans with Will Levis. Like it didn't do much for me. So the hire didn't make sense to begin with. I think if I had to make a prediction this way we can close the show, I don't think they make any coaching changes this offseason. I really, really don't.
Okay, I think defensive coordinator's out, and I think London is 50-50. I would move on from him, but I could see the Jets keeping him.
Yeah, I feel like if Wilkes was going to be gone, though, Glenn would have taken over play calling already. I don't know. That's just the
angle. Oh, fair. Oh, no, that's fair. I did, by the way, I wanted to bring this up because we were talking about it, and I just don't think you're going to be able to come up with the names. If you do, I'll be impressed. The Jets had 7 picks on the season last year. 2 from Eccles, Tony Adams you got the Sauce Gardner one. So that's 4. There's one player who had 2 picks and another player who had 1 pick to get us to 7.
Okay, Ashton Davis had 2. That was week 18 against the Dolphins. And I just have one more.
Yeah, just someone who had 1 pick on the season. He only played in 9 games.
Oh my God. Okay, he has to be a cornerback. Michael Carter II.
Jalen Mills.
Oh, he had the pick on was that Halloween where he had the pick?
I think so. Here, let me pull up
Yeah,
the
I
game
think he
log
might
for
have
this week
Jalen
for.
Mills. Wow.
He had a pick against Jacksonville.
Jackson. Okay, that was the game they had 2 picks with him and Sauce. Yeah, you said 9 games, so I thought Michael Carter II because he was banged up a lot of last season. Wow, that's insane. So they had more than I thought.
They did. And now Siberian Nightmares, that didn't Whitehead have 3 in a game? He did. That was 2 years ago. That was in 2023.
2 years ago. Jordan Whitehead just never found any consistency with the Jets. He would have a game like that, and then he would miss 6 tackles the next game.
That was the frustrating. That was why I found him so frustrating. Yes, he was good at the interceptions, right? Like that was something that his game that we liked. The missed tackle rate was way too high.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. I mean, the Jets haven't really had a good safety in so long, like a great safety, I think you could say. I mean, you probably have to think back to, maybe like a Jim Leonard from 2009 through 2011. It was on those playoff teams. I mean, there haven't just been that many. Like, Bless Austin was a cornerback, so I don't count him. But the secondaries I just think back to the 2020 secondary. People compare this team to 2020. Sure, you could make a case record wise, but the 2020 team might be one of the worst rosters I've ever seen an NFL team have.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good. Marcus May was still there.
Okay, yeah, right? Marcus May.
I'm trying to think of who the other safety was.
It can't be anyone who's in the league right now. That was post Buster Screen, and Buster Screen was a cornerback.
The corner. They obviously it was Brandon Echols and Bryce Hall starting as your
Bryce Hall starting. Bradley McDougal. That's the other guy. Acquired in the Jamal Adams trade, of course. Anthony Davis, Matthias Farley, JT Hassel, and Bennett Jackson. Those are the safeties. And Jamison Crowder was the wide receiver 1. Frank Gore, averaging like 2 yards a carry, was the running back 1. Braxton Berrios, Brashad Perriman, Kalen Ballage. Remember him? He played like 3 games with the Jets.
He had like 1 good game.
Yeah, he set a UFL record for the longest run. I think he had like a 74-yard touchdown a few months ago. Chris Hogan, Long Island native. Ty Johnson. Yeah, I mean that team was bad.
Not great. Well, I don't think we gave score predictions. So let's close with our score predictions for this game.
All right. I'll say the Jets win. I'll say the Jets win 24-14.
Okay. We're relatively close. I picked the Jets to win also. I had it 20-17. I think it's going to be relatively low scoring due to the weather. I think the Jets defense gets a turnover, maybe 2. Can we get crazy and say 2 turnovers today? I'm not going to go that nuts, but first interception of the season, and the Jets win 20-17.
There we go, Matt. Super fun show. Always great doing it with you. I don't even know who the Jets have next week. I'm going to be fully transparent. I typically look at that Monday. The Dolphins.
Miami.
Dolphins, okay. Dolphins, then the Jaguars. I'm looking at the schedule now. New Orleans, Patriots, Bills. Jets could maybe get a 2-game win streak. They can maybe take 3 of their next 4. It's not the craziest thing if they win today, right? Because you're going to lose to Jacksonville, but you could definitely beat Miami and certainly New Orleans.
Absolutely. So we'll have you covered for that. But for now, that'll do it for us. Thank you so much for hanging out. We'll talk to you guys next week.